Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Glambitious Talk. I am Lily Mae, creator of the Glambitious brand. And as you know, I love connecting you to dynamic women entrepreneurs from around the world. If this is your first time tuning in, visit theglamceo.com to join our email list, to stay connected to our live event experiences, and to check out some of the opportunities that we have to help you grow your revenue and recognition. Miss Michelle Bryant, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everyone a little bit about who you are.
Okay, my name is Michelle Bryant. I am the owner of Bryant's Tax Logistics and Accounting Services, and I also have a trucking company called Bryant's Logistics. I've been in the logistics industry for about 26 years, and also the tax industry just as long. Decided back in 2018 to make it serious and just to do the most when it comes to business owners, we always try to do things the quick way and not the right way. So in 2018, I decided to do things the right way. I merged the two, started my tax business, and been taking off ever since.
Fantastic. Now,
Yeah.
how did you get into the trucking industry specifically?
Well, in the trucking industry, I started back in 1999 when I graduated from high school. My father, he was a truck driver, but at the time he wanted to start his own agency. So when he started his own agency, he knew I'd catch on pretty well, pretty fast. So he was like, let's go into the office and learn how to dispatch. So that's what I did. I was in the office, I learned how to dispatch, and then ever since then, I just been in trucking. He went back over the road. There was a guy that he connected with that owned multiple trucking companies from Florida all the way up to Virginia. And he called me and asked me to work for him personally after my father went back over the road. So I worked with him for about 9 years, learned everything from him. And then I went and worked for a company down in Jacksonville, Florida that had barges and learned how to deal with, freight coming in and off the barges as well as being railed.
hmm And I know that, the trucking industry is male dominated. So, what advice do you have for women who should consider a career in trucking? Like, what would be your advice about that?
My advice for women who's considering getting into the trucking business, you have to know your stuff. If you don't know, you need to learn. Because these men out here they would take advantage. They'll try to take advantage, and not all men, but you have some women who overpay in maintenance. They don't understand how to pay the drivers. um they have to learn how to negotiate your contracts. If you have the contracts, learn how to work with brokers, because from my experience working in this industry, I have been tried, brokers and repair shops have tried to, take advantage of me in that way. But when you talk to them as if you know what you're doing and how things are supposed to be done, then they kind of back down, and then they kind of, I guess you earn their respect in that way. But you have to know your stuff. You have to learn your stuff. You have to know how to deal with drivers. Because drivers, I love them dearly, but you got some people that just trying to get over on you because you're a woman. So that would be my advice. Learn the industry that you're getting in so that you can know how to deal with different things that comes up in the right way and not be taken advantage of.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately a challenge for women just in life, period. It's like
Yes.
when we go to take our car to get it fixed, they may hit us with, higher rates or do extra things because they know we may not be knowledgeable on cars. And so I can imagine it's similar in the trucking industry. Do you feel like it's becoming more inclusive for women in your experience?
I feel in certain areas, it's becoming more inclusive because they're seeing more women out there. Like, for example, I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia, and Savannah is the port city. So you have more and more women going in and out the ports. So down in Savannah, they would see, oh, okay, there's a lot of women going in and out the port, a lot of women driving trucks. They're more accepting. But where my business is, in Indianapolis, there are not a lot of women who are driving the trucks from what I was able to see, that who are trying to do what I'm doing, okay, as far as the trucking industry. So up there, I get a lot of looks. And
Mhm.
people are like a little shocked when I have to go in the repair shop and get with them and talk with them about what's going on with my truck, or even trying to deal with warehouse managers and contracts and all that other stuff. I get the looks, and it's like, hey, I go in there knowing my stuff, so I expect you to talk to me like you talk to anyone else. I don't want anybody to try to make as if yeah, if you can't, if you have to watch what you say or whatever, you may hurt my feelings or whatever. No, I talk and dress them just like they address, want talk and dress anybody else. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I gotcha. And I know that you also offer training courses and programs. So tell us, what inspired you to start offering that and what that includes.
Well, what inspired me? Okay, so back in during the COVID time, I created a beta dispatcher course because I've dispatched it since 1999. So, it was just a small little course, but there were so many courses popping out of everywhere. I was like, where are all these courses coming from? And when I started my company last year, it seems like everybody took the same $200 course because the way they were approaching me were all the same. And then I realized that some of these companies and some people are hiring dispatchers overseas. So they're competing with people who are getting paid $3 and $4 to dispatch from overseas. So I said, you know what, let me come up with this program based off of my expertise, what I've learned and what I have done in my own business to be able to generate the revenue, and set myself apart from all the others, so that people can make money in dispatching. Because from what I've heard, spoke with a lot of other dispatchers, they have not been making enough money. They have been getting out of the industry. But if you're taking $100, $200 course on just the basic stuff, then you can't really function in a way that you're supposed to make the money that you're supposed to. So I have the class. It's a in office and virtual class. It's August 16th through the 17th. It's 2 days, 1.5 days, all day Saturday, half a day on Sunday. And we go over everything. We go over dispatching, the different systems, the EOD, the hours of service, how to deal with brokers, how to deal with fraud, all different kind of things. So I'm really excited to get this going and start training, a lot of different people on dispatching.
That's amazing that you're taking what you've learned and what you know to help others, build successful careers in that industry. And you also help people with their taxes in the industry. So talk a little bit about that.
Oh yes. So I started doing taxes in 96. I'm 15 years old. I had my first little job and I learned how to do it hands-on, by paper, 1040 easy. So throughout the years, I worked with H&R Block off and on. And a lot of people know that I work in trucking and I do taxes. So I would get phone calls and for assistance or questions or whatever on the tax side, from a lot of truck drivers. So that's another thing I did in 2018. I said, okay, well, I'm getting all these calls and people reaching out to me with assistance on their taxes. And a lot of these calls are coming from truck drivers. These truck drivers have, they need help. And throughout the years, I only worked with, truck drivers, owner operators and company drivers. So I know the type of deductions they have because I used to process their payroll as well. So what I did was in 2018, when I started my company, I decided to just merge the two together. So I prepared taxes, but I specialized in truckers taxes and all the deductions and reimbursements that are allowed by them. So that's what I do, and I've been successful in it. Every year I gain so many truck drivers and from different avenues, from box trucks, semis, dualies, brokerage, all just from different walks of life in the trucking industry.
And what do you feel like is the biggest challenge when it comes to doing, handling your taxes as a truck driver? What is the biggest challenge with that, you think?
not doing the bookkeeping. You have to have your bookkeeping done. I know we're, in trucking, it's a high expense industry. You got to have some money in the bank because something is always going to come up, and it's not going to cost 1,000, 2,000. It may cost you 3, 4, even 10,000 at a time. So during your bookkeeping, you got to know what your numbers are at all times, know where your money's going. You want to have that balance sheet because a lot of times when you in the trucking industry, you want to, you want to grow. So you got to get a truck. You got to get this. You got to get that. Well, in order to get those loans, you have to have, for one, your taxes done. In order to do your taxes, you got to have your bookkeeping. And those same loan companies, banks, or whomever you're dealing with, they're going to ask for your profit and loss, and they're going to ask for that balance sheet. All right. And those things they take time to do. So I can't even count on two hands how many times I speak with business owners that's in the trucking industry, and they're trying to get approved for a loan, but the company is asking for that balance sheet and profit and loss. And I can't complete a whole year of profit and loss of bookkeeping in 1 week. Okay. So that's one of the things that you have to keep your books in order to grow, in order to know where your money's going, in order to obtain business credit so that you can buy that truck or do what you need to do in that industry for your company.
Absolutely. And if there's someone listening that's like, oh, this is an industry I've been thinking about getting into, or I need help in these different areas, how can they connect with you online or, check out your courses and so forth?
Yes, so you can check out my website at www.bryantstaxlogistics.com. My office is located in Forest Park, but I also have an office in downtown Indianapolis in the Bottle Works district. So you can also email me at info@bryantstaxlogistics.com, or just give me a call at 770-460-5294.
Fantastic. Well, again, thanks, Michelle, for helping other women, to get acclimated into the trucking industry. With the way that the economy is going, I think that women should definitely explore their options, their career choices, and ways to, bring in a consistent living no matter what happens. And so this is definitely a viable way to increase your income, to, shift your career if you're needing a shift. So make sure that you connect with Michelle Bryant if this is something that resonates with you. And again, if this is your first time tuning in to the Glambitious Talk, make sure you visit theglamceo.com. And you can also follow me, Lily Mae, on Instagram at I am Lily Mae. So thanks again for tuning in, you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.